take this stupid frickin' thing off. But anyway, I'm at the just leaving the doctor right now, physician's immediate care, and the doc was like, yeah, there's something ain't right with your knee. The swelling didn't go down all that much from last week. If not, it's a little bit more. Some of it went down, but it's more loose now. So he said, yeah, you got to have an MRI. I'm going to put an MRI in right now, and in the next 24 to 48 hours, you're gonna get a call, and you're gonna have to go get an MRI done, and you're gonna have to be available. You know, even if you're on the clock or something like that, if they tell you, hey, we got an appointment tonight at 4 o'clock and you got to drive an hour away, you got to go do it. You got to be able to just pop smoke and leave work. So over the next couple of days, make sure your jobs are small to where when you can leave and somebody else can either pick up or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to throw you guys a video. This is a 2017 T250 or 350 Transit with a 3.5 liter EcoBoost, where the manifolds are notorious for leaking. You go to accelerate, and as you go to accelerate, it sounds like blowing across the blade of grass. It'll start to whistle and vibrate. And it'll be coming from, a lot of times, the driver's side. I find the driver's side fails more than the passenger side, but the passenger side does it as well. Here's a video on what the difference between the manifolds and what it looks like as I'm going through and putting everything back together and updating everything with new lines and new fittings, new gaskets, new studs. And I show you where the failure is and how they made the defective exhaust manifolds, and how by about 70 to 100,000 miles they start leaking, and then you get to see where the driver's side was blowing out. But anyhow, let's get into the video.
What's going on, guys? You guys asked me to talk a little bit about the 3.5 liter EcoBoost manifolds on the Transit. This is a 17 with 100,000 miles on it. The manifold just started leaking at about 100,000 miles. I don't remember the exact mileage. You see here where it's been pissing out of this area. If you notice, they put a bunch of bolts here and then left all the bolts out right here and just went to the back. Well, it always blows out right here, and then when you have to do this, they break off in the head. I had to weld a couple of these out. You can see the indentation for a stud that was normally right here. They never put nothing in. And it's kind of one of those things where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. The port is in the head, but they never used it. This port is in the head, but they never used it. Well, this was the driver's side. I already have that in. I'll take you over here real quick and give you a quick shot. I've got the lines and everything in. Everything's bolted down. Just kind of wanted to prep to show you guys what it looks like. You got your drain. Your drain is in. Your coolant line is in. The coolant line kind of comes over here to the side. Put new fittings in the turbo here. You got your feed line here. Goes up to the top. This is a feed and a drain setup. It's a dual setup here. And then your coolant line from the top goes to the back of the cylinder head back there. Put new fittings there, new line there, new gaskets. You can see up underneath here now where they added that extra stud, so it's not blowing out the bottom and stuff anymore. So then what we'll do is we'll look at and compare the passenger side as well, that we have both of these out of here, and you can see the difference between the two. It looks a little beefier actually, the new setup. You can see here how they have there. Now they moved this over here and then beefed up this area right here. So there's 3 here, and then they moved the 4th over here instead of all in a row. And then this you run the risk of possibly blowing out right here. So this is the new manifold going on there. And what we're gonna do while we're all here together is we are gonna go down here and we're gonna put our gasket on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and gasket on the passenger side. You can see this side here. I've got all the studs and stuff in already with anti-seize, copper anti-seize, not the regular muggy gucky stuff. I've got my drain and my feed oil line in, and I've got my coolant line already set up to the back of the head back there where it goes. Now my gasket will sit like this. Come on, cooperate with me here, and then I'll go ahead and get my manifold set up here and get the nuts started for that. And this is where they added the extra bolt. Yeah, that's where they added the extra bolt, but it used to be right here. All they did was move it over and then beef up that area. You can see they could have did that from the beginning, but what ended up happening, if you look at the gasket here, the old gasket, See all them bolt holes in the top right here? This was used, this was used, this was used, this was used, and then they didn't put anything in here at all. And they left that wide open. And then down here, you can see the ones that were used. And then right here, that right there in this area is normally where it blows out. Well, now that's nice and secure, and there's bolts everywhere it needs to be. So, we'll go down here, get our manifold, and then install our manifold. Let's look at our bottom row here, see what's different about the bottom row. Got a bolt hole there, bolt hole there, bolt hole there, bolt hole there. Oh, wait a second. Wait, that. So, the new one, they put one right here, and then they put another one down here, and then beef up this bottom area right here as well. So there's two changes. They added a bolt in down here, and then they moved this one over here to distribute the clamping force better and actually make it a better system. Let's go down there and install our new manifold now, so you can clearly see the difference between the two of these. So back up a little bit so you can see from afar kind of what's going on here. All right, so this is what it looks like. Everything is all mocked up on the passenger side now. You can see my oil feed and these fittings here. Let me explain something to you. Let me see if I can get this to stick somewhere. Where am I gonna go? Right here. Oh yeah, right there. These fittings have screens in them. They screen the oil coming through the supply tube here and supplying the turbo. And this is your drain tube going back to the block. This is your coolant feed from the back of your cylinder head right here. This bigger tube on the back, so nobody gets mad. You can see, goes to the back of the cylinder head, and it goes into the turbo, and then the turbo drains on the back side here, right here, and goes back to this coolant quick connect port. It takes special clip removers, or you can take a pick and just undo those clips and pull them out of there. Anytime you work with those, anytime you remove that line, you replace it. Don't reuse it at all. Zero, no tolerance. You will hate yourself if you do not listen. Now it's in. New manifold, new gasket, new lines, new fittings. There's a filter inside here, like I said, for the supply. And then over here, it looks like this. And at about 100, 120,000 miles, sometimes these are so nasty and plugged up. This is what it looks like. This happens to be the one on the driver's side. It's a little bit bigger than the one on the passenger side. And that one is hidden back here by the alternator. And it goes to the supply as well. So both of those have filters. That's it. That's basically all there is to, updating these and getting them back on board. And I got bad gas right now, real bad. I dropped the ratchet and it busted my lip open right here.
They're not as fresh as you say they are.
And dropped the ratchet and it came down and cracked me right in between my teeth. Made my gap bigger. Anyway, the next thing tomorrow, up close and personal, no. Biggest thing tomorrow is I've got to heat and extract these cross member bolts because they snap off every time we go to take these out of these transits. Same thing over here. This one came out. Yeah, I think this one came out. So 3 of the 4 I have to heat up and extract to get my cross member back in. And I'll go ahead and hang everything, but that's the difference between the old manifold and the new manifold. You see where it cracked me? Where it's like red down in there? A little bit of blood, but not bad. Anyhow, hey, your light's on. Right in my face. Right in my face. Now I'm blind. Now workman's comp. Anyway, that's how you update these turbos, and that's what goes into updating these turbos. It's not a wham bam thank you ma'am job. And honestly, book time is like 11 and a half, 12 hours. This is honestly more like a 14 or 15 hour job. This is not like an 11 and a half, 12 hour job if you're doing it real clean and real nice, so the customers never have to come back in for this again. And if they ever have a problem in the future and they have to remove the studs, you're not just shoving the studs and nuts and everything back in there. You're taking your time, copper anti-seize, torquing everything appropriately, making sure every fitting is nice and snug, everything is put back the way it belongs, and don't rush this job. And if you have any doubt about the holes that you're going back into, buy yourself a chase. Buy yourself a chase and chase every single one of the holes that you may have an issue with. This is a M8 by 1.25, I think. Yep, 8 by 1.25 millimeter. Snap-on. These are, it's like 40 years old for this snap-on kit that I have. It's like 40, I don't know, it's an RTD 40. I bought it from an old man that was retiring. I bought it from an old guy that was retiring, and he said, I want you to have it. He said back when this was brand new back in the day, he said, I think I paid like $300 or $400 for this kit, and I'll sell it to you for $100. I said, done. Deal. Mine. So I have it now. My second and oldest tool is this right here. It's about 48 or 49 years old. The CP air hammer. Yeah. And then we won't talk about how much money I have. All the specialty sockets and air ratchet and drill bits, and it's, y'all be blessed. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the video. Something a little different, quicker, kind of talking about something you might be interested in updating in the future if you want the updated manifolds on your 3.5 liter Transit. Thank you. Love y'all. Take care.